joining me here now, it's the one, the only, of course, talking to Brad Katona, set to fight for the vacant bantamweight title at Brave CF 57. What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I mean, you've been doing a lot of exciting things with Brave. I mean, has this just been the perfect start for you with this promotion?
Uh, yeah, it seems like it's so far. I'm not gonna say it hasn't been going well. We were pushing for a fight for a while, and sure enough, we got the title shot, which is exactly what we wanted, and so things are going according to plan so far.
What was your reaction when they came to you with the title shots? I assume, obviously, you guys must have been pretty happy about that.
Yeah, they approached us with going 5 rounds, and if you look at my career, I only generally get stronger as the fight goes, and so 5 rounds is always exciting to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to do 25 minutes. 25 minutes is a long time. Uh, there's not much I'd like to be doing for 25 minutes, and especially not fighting. But I know my opponent's kind of in that same boat, but maybe a little worse for wear. So if he's suffering through it, I'll gladly suffer through it as well. But it was exciting, especially with the opponent that they chose. I think it was a great matchup and just a great opportunity to keep on our role in Brave.
And so you're going to be taking on Hamza Kuheji. I mean, did you assume this was going to be the next person?
I really had no idea who they'd throw at me for the belt. There was many options, many good fighters, and getting Hamza makes a lot of sense. He'll be the first Bahrainian uh, MMA champion if he wins. But I want to be, Brave's first Canadian champion as well, and be the first fighter out of SPG to win that belt. So uh, that's what I plan on doing. And if everything goes as planned, that's how we're going to be leaving too.
Does that kind of make you the bad guy in this matchup? Like, you have to kind of ruin the whole Bahrain storyline. Like, are you embracing that kind of role?
Yeah, I'm no stranger to my entire career started that way. I was the fighter that got brought in on shorter notice to fight the hometown kind of prospect. Yeah, and so that happened all the time. I remember quite a few of my fights going back watching the video, and I think it was probably the guy I fought's friend doing the commentary for it because it was completely biased one way. So I'm no stranger to, I guess, being, you know, the party pooper, if you
Yeah.
will. Not necessarily the bad guy, but the guy to spoil the party. But I'm also, I'm happy enough to take that role because, and if they're bringing me in to lose, they're in for a bad time.
Have you thought of, since it's Colby Covington Fight Week, have you thought of kicking it up a notch, taking it to that true heel level? Bahrain, you absolutely suck, and you start trashing the people. Have you thought about, kicking it up times 10?
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be a good idea. I'm a long way from home. I'm a
Yeah.
long way from home. So and I think I just come off silly. Like I'm
Yeah.
not that quick witted. If I was a little faster, yeah, that'd be exciting. Kobe and I have a similar style in many ways, but that's just not me, man. And I wish some days it would be just easy if I could. But if this feels right, like this feels right, so I'm not going to try to change anything. Uh, I'm just going to put on an exciting fight and let that take care of itself.
Fair enough. I want to get to something a little bit more interesting because there's someone that you fought in the past on The Ultimate Fighter, Bryce Mitchell. He recently did this interview on the MMA Hour, which caused, MMA Twitter, the whole social media to go crazy. I have to know, have you watched that interview?
I haven't. I've heard about it, and I haven't. It seems like almost anything Bryce does causes social media to go
Yeah.
crazy. From his incident with the drill to
Oh,
I don't know. He's just he's having met him, spent some time with him. He's such an interesting guy to be around. Completely different than myself, and I don't know exactly everything he said. I should listen to it.
it's entertaining. That's for
He is
sure.
entertaining. He is entertaining. He's one of a kind. Bryce is, and I think that's why he's gotten so much love. And maybe I think he's gotten some hate probably from what he's recently said, maybe, but he's one of a kind, and he's just genuine. Like, he's not putting on a show, and I think I can appreciate that.
I think for you being that you're in Ireland, you're from Canada and stuff, is he like when you talk about an American stereotype, is that Bryce Mitchell? Because it kind of feels like he fits all the boxes of what a foreigner would imagine from an American.
um, he embraces his Arkansas side. Like, he's very proud of being from Arkansas, which is great. Like, to me, it's a different culture. Like, even though we are North American, if you will, me being from Winnipeg is completely different than him being from Arkansas, and my life experiences are completely different than his. So it's I guess there's a bigger culture shock there than there was necessarily me going to Ireland.
Yeah.
There's similarities enough. Arkansas, at least that part of America, is different. It's different than Canada, and I think it would be hard to argue with that.
With you being in SBG, do you spend your time answering a lot of questions about Conor McGregor? Like, I assume even if you're out on the street, somebody finds out you're at SBG, you must have people swarming to you. Are you dealing with stuff like that at all?
Everyone is curious on what Connor's doing, how Connor is. Do you have any behind the scenes thing, any drama or anything? Like, he's so big, he's bigger than life and personality, and how famous he is. So there's always a question: have you trained with him? Have you done this? Have you seen him? Is he in the gym? Is he not in the gym? It's like, man, I'm doing my own thing. Ask me about me sometimes. But I all my interactions with Connor have always been 10 out of 10, really supportive, and so, and I don't have anything secret. Basically, like, there's nothing I've seen that people haven't seen either. So
Do people in the gym, like you mentioned, he's larger than life? Do people sort of treat him that way in the gym, or is there like a point where it's like, look, we're all fighters and we're all here to get punched in the face today?
I think everyone on that SBG mat is there to, they come to party, they come to train. Like, they're there taking it seriously, and when Connor's there, he's taking it seriously as well. Where there's old teammates on the mat of his, like Brian Bosch and Katona. So I think he feels somewhat at home there coming in, and especially when there's the familiar face, not just a whole bunch of gawking fans or anything. When you're on a mat, especially for the MMA practice itself, it's business as usual.
So getting back to you, obviously being with Brave, they put on shows all over the place. Sometimes places you've never even heard of, places you think I didn't know they could have a show there. Do you kind of enjoy that aspect of you could be fighting in wild different places? Some fighters they hate it. How do you feel about it?
It is exciting. It is exciting. It does pose some challenges in terms of expectations. For example, my last fight in Kazakhstan in the middle of a pandemic, is it's well, what do you expect? So you go in there basically self. At least how I went in there. I went in there kind of self-reliant on. I'm bringing everything I need. I'm coming as the true professional I am, and if there's any breaks, being some comfort of home. Uh, I'll find it, and thankfully, um, it was fairly smooth sailing going over there. But it is exciting, like, just the fact that I'll be returning to Bahrain. I'm from Winnipeg, training in Ireland, fought in Bahrain, fought in Kazakhstan, fought now all over the board. So it's I like it. I find it quite exciting because sometimes when else would I travel to a place like Almaty, Kazakhstan? It wouldn't be first on my list just because of the unknown aspect.
Are you one of these people? Do you take advantage of the fact that you're at these places? Like I know some people they'll dedicate like a week after the fight to visit. Do you visit, or are you strictly there for business?
I try to enjoy a little bit, especially after. Thankfully, I could speak to my last fight. I stayed there for an extra. I think I had a full, day and a bit after my fight. So we went out, we saw some of the mountains outside Almaty, kind of toured around a little bit, had some local food. Like that's, and even fight week, walking around trying to soak in as much culture as you can without drawing you too much. my first fight in Bahrain. I spent a full extra day afterwards. I wish I had more time to really experience it. But also with COVID, it kind of takes some of the fun out of it. It makes it a little more unpredictable, where you're kind of going, okay, I don't want to necessarily overstay or overextend myself in my stay, so it's time to get back home. So I'm looking forward to, now in the future, that things are kind of go back to normal, so I can enjoy it just that little bit more.
Getting to this fight with Hamza, how do you kind of look at the matchup in this one? I doubt you'd be the first fighter to ever say you don't like the matchup heading into a fight.
Yeah, I like it. He's a very dangerous fighter. He has power in his hands, and he has conditioning. He can go the distance, and he can take guys out in the first round. He can strike, but he can also grapple. So he's good everywhere, and he's kind of that well-rounded fighter. But looking at myself, I'm the same way. I just feel like my level is just higher. The level of refinement, the level of skill, the level of athleticism. I just think I'm a different fighter than he is. And, if I was coming here just talking how good he is without countering it to any points about myself, I probably shouldn't take that fight. I like this fight anywhere it goes. A fast start, uh, a long drawn out, grueling war. I'll take it anywhere and everywhere. And really looking at my preparation this camp, we're trending in a very good direction. It's been the best it's ever been.
How does that power aspect sort of affect you in the matchup? I know some fighters they make a big deal out of it, like they're constantly thinking about it. How does that kind of affect you? Because it is a game changer if potentially you get hit clean or something.
You know, in all honesty, you respect it, but you also don't fear it. I'm sure at some point in the fight he's going to land a punch. And I guarantee at some point with 4 ounce gloves on, it's not going to feel too pretty. But you say that about any bantamweight in the world, and he cracks you and it connects. It could hurt you. All bantamweights all have power in their hands. They all have conditioning as well. Like, so it's one of those where I am mindful of it. Okay, let's maybe not walk on to too many left hands because we're just rolling the dice. But but has he put guys out? Looking at his last Aiden James fight, he rocked him with the left hand, stunned him a bit, but it didn't put him out. He went on and had to win a 3 round fight after that. So he has power, but it's not that ungodly freakish power. It's just power that you should probably respect. And how I feel, at least, is as long as I see the punch coming or see the shot coming, I'll probably be okay. And I'll say probably because there's no guarantees.
What kind of fight are you expecting out there? Because it sounds like, from the both of you, it sounds like nobody really wants to go all 25 minutes, all 5 rounds if you don't have to. What kind of fight are you expecting out there?
I, man, 25 minutes is a long time. It's a very long time. So I'd like I know hey, I'd love to get it done quick. I'd love to get it done quick. I'd love to finish it off because I'll be last fight of the night. Be nice, finish that off, get some good food, kick the feet up, great, belt around my waist or over my shoulder, and have a good night afterwards. But the preparation is for anything and everything. That includes going 25 minutes. That goes for a mid fight stoppage. That's going for a first round. Catch. The one thing I can guarantee is I'm going to keep on tossing problems his way, and he's going to have to keep on answering them. And the minute he slips up, that could be the end of the fight. So that's my job, is to keep on tossing those problems out, and that's what I prepared for.
All right, one last question for you, kind of going with that one, but that's how we end our interviews. It's an easy one, but how do you see yourself getting your hand raised out there?
I anytime I'm asked this, I just think of a quote John told me, and it's, my opponent chooses how he loses. Again, this goes back to tossing the problems at him. He gets to decide. Does he want to walk onto the right hand of me? Does he want to get hit by the left hook? Is there a right leg that catches him, or is it me finishing him from mount or catching a guillotine? Like, there's so many ways I can end this fight, and I've proven it in the past. There's many ways I can end a fight, and so that's my job. My job is to keep on tossing those problems out and see what answers he has. And the minute he slips up, you know me, I'll be looking to end it.
All right, we look forward to it. It's going to be a great fighter, and I'll tell you that. Thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it as always.